All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is April 29th. It is Wednesday. I apologize that it is dark. The storm last night knocked out my power. Something happened. So I do not have power right now. And this is the best light I can get for us. But with that still, we are going to get started. So yesterday we talked about comparing. Oh, am I not sharing the screen? I'm not, am I? My bad. Share screen. There we go. Yesterday we did a compare and contrast of two characters, and I told you that today we were going to compare and contrast two stories. So I stuck with Arachne the Weaver because I feel like that's one we're most familiar with because we've worked with it most recently and we've worked with it a few times. So we're going to compare that Greek myth to Prometheus and Pandora. So we're going to go back real quick through Prometheus and Pandora just to refresh our minds, like good readers do, to go back, refresh our minds and review what happened in the story so we can give accurate details from the story when we're comparing and contrasting. So when we started talking about Prometheus and Pandora, we met Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus, and these two brothers did something. What is important about what these two brothers did? The picture is, a good clue for you if you forgot. They were creators, that they created some things. So they created the animals and they created people. Prometheus created the people, remember, and Epimetheus created the animals. So then this is them talking to Zeus, remember, and Zeus is pleased with the animals, talks about how it makes them laugh. However, he questions Prometheus's creation, right? Like, what good are these people for? But Prometheus is like, no, wait, listen, they're going to be wonderful. Just wait. But then it goes in to talk about how the people he created were struggling because they didn't have any fur to keep them warm or anything to use to do anything. And so he begs Zeus for fire. And Zeus tells him what? Tells him, no way. Fire is for the gods. And so Prometheus decides, what does Prometheus decide to do, y'all? Yep, little sneaker snuck up to the Mount Olympia place where the flame was that all fire originated from, and he stole a little coal and brought it back to the humans on Earth. Zeus finds out, he gets wicked angry, mad. He punishes not just Prometheus, but also the people, right? He punishes the people. And he punishes Prometheus. He punishes Prometheus with what? The clue is on Zeus's shoulder. He punishes Prometheus by a bird pecking at him. Peck, 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 peck. Yep, and then he decides he's going to punish the people by sending down this new human that is created named Pandora, this beautiful woman with all these characteristics and traits and personalities that everybody would want, right, with this box. And he tells her not to open it, and he tells her to go to Earth with it. She does, but what happens? She becomes very curious, wants to know what's inside of the box. I'll even reread the text. Zeus finally sent Pandora down to the earth with the closed box as a gift to Epimetheus. Before sending Pandora, Zeus warned her to never open the box. Pandora, however, desired to know what was in the box. She fought against her curiosity, but day after day, night after night, the question nibbled away at her. Pandora would often sit at the box, wondering, wanting to open it, but stopped herself. Then one day, when nobody was around, Pandora went to gaze at the box, and finally she thought, one peep cannot hurt. She stood up and studied the box one last time before she took a deep breath and opened the lid. And what happened when she opened the lid? It did something. It released a bunch of bad things into the world, but it also released one good thing. So out of the box burst all of the frightening, saddening, anger-causing, terrifying evils and sorrows. Greed, hate, anger, pain, disease, disaster, and death swarmed from the box and around Pandora. She tried so hard to shove them back inside, but she was too late. Out they flew in all directions. By the time Pandora was able to replace the lid back on the box, only one thing remained, and that was hope. All right, so that is the end of Prometheus and Pandora's story. So now, with that information, we can go back to our chart. We can go back to our chart and we can think about things that are the same and things that are different. So right away, something that comes to my mind is something that was the same. Most Greek myths, we already talked about this, do what? They do something. Is it still up here? Yep, I don't know if you can see this. So we said that Greek myth, what it is, it's a fictional story, it explains things in nature, or it teaches a lesson. So could we say that Prometheus and Pandora story, as well as Arachne the Weaver, both explain something? We can, right? So explains something. I want you to be able to write down and tell me, what does it explain? Because are they the same things that they explain? Does Prometheus and Pandora explain the same thing as Arachne the Weaver? No. So they do both explain something, but what they explain are two different things. So I'm going to let you do the things that are different about them on your own for homework, as well as some extra things in the middle. But we're going to continue working together for a minute. So it does explain something. Also, can we say, let's go back to our notes. We talked about a myth explains something. Nope, wrong one. Wrong one. Oh, Miss G. Explains something or it teaches a lesson. Oh, no, you can't do that. Explains something or it teaches a lesson. What is the lesson that we talked about for Arachne the Weaver? It was even one of y'all's homework assignment. What lesson does Arachne learn? Does she learn a lesson? Okay. Do you think that there's a lesson to be learned in Prometheus and Pandora? And what lesson could it be? So if I think about Arachne the Weaver, it explains the lesson about being boastful and bragging. And if I think about Prometheus and Pandora, I think there's two lessons that can be learned from that, right? Ooh, bless me. So teaches a lesson. Again, we're putting it in the middle because they both do teach a lesson. But do they teach the same lesson? No, so that could be something that you're putting on the sides by themselves of what lesson it teaches. Okay? Explain something, teaches a lesson. What else could be something, thinking about Prometheus and Pandora? If we were in class, we would just be sitting here reviewing the things so you can use your brain. We can use our brains together to come up with things. We could say that both of them include gods and goddesses, right? Gods and goddesses. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is, I'm going to add to this, explain something being created, because they both do that, right? The other thing I was going to add was, I don't remember. Okay, maybe it'll come back to me. So we can say it both had gods and goddesses. They both teach a lesson. They explain something being created. Another similarity that I think about is there was a problem, right? There was a problem in Prometheus and Pandora. And that there's actually several problems in Prometheus and Pandora if you think about it. Zeus was not happy with the humans. The humans needed fire, and so Prometheus had to provide that for them. And then Pandora even created an issue. And then when I think about Arachne the Weaver, there was a problem there too, in the fact that she was so boastful and so arrogant and full of herself that it caused an issue with one of the gods. So both stories have problems that have to be solved. And so, like in Arachne the Weaver, the solution there was Athena was teaching her, like, no matter what your gift is, you continue to do it. So both have problems. What else could we say is similar about them? I mean, right off the top, even something as simple as they're both a Greek myth, a fictional story. Especially if this is something you get on like a state test or something like that, like you can always correlate when you're comparing two stories if they're fiction or nonfiction. Okay, so with that, I'm going to stop right there. Your assignment is now to take this little bit that we did together, and you are going to work and tell me what's the difference between Arachne the Weaver and Prometheus and Pandora. And remember, you can even go back to some of these right here to talk about, like, even though there was a similarity there, there's also differences. So I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And make sure that you are reading some sort of book or something today. Okay? Bye.